Peace, peace, peace. I'm back again. I apologize for that break in lieu of me trying to find this part I'm looking for in the article written by um, uh, this person in regards to Theodore Roosevelt, in regards to them using the name of the Anglo-Saxon people as a superior race so that they can get on the map. But I found what I was looking for, so let's continue. All right, here we go.
14. It was John W. Burgess, a professor at Columbia, who also gave Roosevelt's beliefs justification as he educated Roosevelt in racial superiority. As Thomas F. Gossett discussed in his book Race, The History of an Idea in America, it was Burgess that argued, only the Teutonic races had been imbued with the ability to build stable governments. 15. Gossett further explained how the Teutonic race spread into England as the Anglo-Saxon race and then eventually spread to and formed the United States of America.
You see that? He said the Teutonic races have been imbued with the ability to build a stable government. Gossett further explained how the Teutonic races spread into England. So they're saying that the Teutonic race spread into England as the Anglo-Saxon race, and then eventually spread to and form what they call the United States of America. Now we just read, according to Theodore Roosevelt, that his history is based off the American frontier, which is based off the English colony and not the British colony. The British colony fought against the French. The French was the one who overthrew England in 1066 based off the Norman conquest. So this must be the Teutonic races, the history dealing with the Norman French, which were Vikings, Scandinavians, New Netherland. And if you look at the word Roosevelt, I'm pretty sure the name originates from Netherland, if you check the family crest. So let's continue to read on.
Then it was the Germans who immigrated to America and mixed back with the Anglo-Saxon race that enabled America to create constitutional government.
You see that? So then it was the Germans who immigrated to America and mixed back with the Anglo-Saxon races that enabled America to create a constitutional government. Now let me show you something. If you look at the Burbridge family crest and coats of arms, it states that they were the Anglo-Saxon tribes that existed through antiquity. And the word Berber origin comes from so-called Africa off that continent. So how the hell they get to England? All right? And it also, if you look at the origin of Berber, they also have a flag of Germany, which back to the movie Django, they had a sister there named Hilda from Germany. They had a German over in America, in Tennessee, a bounty hunter, and he chose Django to go look for Hilda, a German. Well, I should say not a German, somebody who spoke German. All right? So Gossett is qualifying what Teddy Roosevelt and the rest of the so-called British Empire did to the Native Americans who were Anglo-Saxons.
Gossett claimed other races remained in a state of barbarism and needed the Teutonic race to rule over them and educate them on the organization of government. 16. Gossett even gave justification of force. The civilized state thus may righteously go still further than the exercise of force in imposing organization. 17. Roosevelt learned from Burgess that it was his duty as a civilized Teutonic race descendant to educate the barbarous races in self-government.
Okay. So he said he was part of the Teutonic race, descendants to educate the barbarous race in self-government. All right? He said he was from the Teutonic race. We're going to find out what that race was once we continue this.
Roosevelt's education of racial superiority and racial inferiority became his beliefs, which were expressed in his own written work, The Whining of the West, From the Alleghenies to the Mississippi. Roosevelt discussed how the Teutonic race was almost merged into the Roman power, until the sacking of Rome, at which time the Teutonic race moved from the defensive outward to become the conquerors of Europe. Eventually.
Okay, so it says that the Teutonic race was almost merged into the Roman power. Now remember, King George I was from the House of Hanover under the Roman Republic. So Roosevelt is making reference to the Roman power. Now, the Rome was supposed to be back in BC. So why is he making reference to Rome here in AD, Annus Dominius, in the year of our Lord? And it said that Rome, at which time the Teutonic race moved from defensive outward to become the conquerors of Europe. Okay? Germany is in Europe. Netherlands is in Europe.
The Teutonic race moved into many parts of Europe but became lost in the overwhelmingly mass of those they conquered. However, by infusing their blood into those races they conquered, they made those races stronger.
Okay. So it said, however, by infusing their blood in those races, they conquered them and they made their race stronger. So you're saying the European conquered the rest of the inferior races, which includes England, and made them stronger. Because you said you came from Germany and mixed with the Anglo-Saxons who then came over here to America. Y'all got it twisted.
The 15 Thomas F. Gossett, Race, the History.
Let's go back a little bit. Let's go here.
Areas in which the Teutonic race did not become lost, but instead rose to lead were in the northern areas of the Dutch and British. 18 Roosevelt described how the Teutonic race, through England, moved to control the world, yet the rule and the race of the Goth, Frank, and Burgund have vanished from off the earth, while the sons of the unknown Saxon, Anglian, and Frisic warriors now hold in their hands the fate of the coming years.
You see that? It says, but while the sons of the unknown Saxons, the sons of the unknown Saxons or Angelians and Frisic warriors now hold in their hands the fate of the coming years. They talking about the day, y'all. Right now.
19 The connection Roosevelt made was that the Teutonic race had incorporated the English race to become the Anglo-Saxon race.
Okay, what it said? The connection Roosevelt made was that the Teutonic race had incorporated the English race to become the Anglo-Saxon race. You hear that? He admitting that. This is your 26th president of the United States of America. All right? Americans who adopted the term English under the name, the surname, lineal descent surname.
Therefore, the Anglo-Saxons were around longer than the other Europeans that they were in competition with when the Americas were being colonized.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? This is from the memoirs of Theodore Roosevelt. He said, therefore, the Anglo-Saxons were around longer than the Europeans that they were in competition with the Americas were being colonized. He just mentioned the American frontier colonized by the English. He just mentioned that. So it's letting you know that Anglo-Saxons were around longer than other Europeans, i.e. the British, that were in competition with the Americas that were being colonized. Read on.
Roosevelt then focused on proving the other European nations were much younger than England and the Anglo-Saxons. He pointed out that the other nations of Europe, the so-called Latin nations, the French and Spaniards, 20 did not begin their national history until they began to colonize the Americas.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did y'all hear that? He said the so-called Latin nations, which composed of the French and Spanish, all my Spanish brothers and sisters, all my brothers and sisters down in Louisiana, he said did not begin their national ethnicity, history, descent, genealogy until they began to colonize Americas. Y'all just asleep.
The Germanic people's history, however, stretched back to the time when the Teutonic race had first existed. He also was quick to point out that areas like Gaul and Iberia were of mixed races as they were conquered by the Romans, the Franks, and the Visigoths, who then mixed blood, languages, and governments. The Teutonic race had conquered across the north of Europe onto the English Isles, where they established the English language and government as it came from Germanic roots. 21 This was how Roosevelt set up the connection to the Anglo-Saxons crossing the Atlantic Ocean and conquering the people of America.
There you go. There you go. There y'all go. There's the proof. You take this stuff to court, you can sue these people in regards to slavery, stealing your land, stealing your name, stealing your history. But y'all want to be Americans. Okay, let's get out of here and let's go back to the Teutonic. Let's see who these people were. All right. Teutons. Teutons, ancient Greek, were an ancient tribe mentioned by Roman authors. They are German. One second, let me make sure I can see this. Okay. Teutons were an ancient tribe mentioned by Roman authors, not English authors, but Roman authors. They were generally classified as Germanic tribes. The Teutons are best known as their participation in the Siberian War with the Roman Republic. Okay? The Teutons are generally classified as Germanic tribes. All right? Not English tribes, not Anglo-Saxon tribes, but Germanic tribes. Did you see that? Let's go back out of here. Let's go back into the Teutonic order. What's this? What is this? The Order of Brothers of the German House of St. Mary in Jerusalem. What is this? You see that? The Holy Roman Empire? This was King George I was a part of this Roman Empire. First king of Britain. Bohemian Society. Does that sound familiar, y'all? If you don't, you're doomed. The Teutonic Order was formed to aid Christians on their pilgrimage to the Holy Land. This is Jerusalem. Now this is German and Germany and Holy Land, which is Jerusalem. To establish hospitals, and members have commonly been known as the Teutonic Knights, having a small voluntary and mercenary military membership serving as crusading military orders for protection of Christians in the Holy Land and politics in the Middle Ages. Okay? There you go. There you go. Y'all got it twisted. It says, formed in 1192 in Acres, the Levant and medieval order played an important role in outtrim the general name of the Crusader states. You're dealing with the Crusades. All right, let's go see where that's at. Okay, in Acres, Kingdom of England. The Kingdom of Jerusalem was a Crusader state established in southern Levant by Godfrey of Bouillon. You see that? Godfrey is Jefferson or Geoffrey. That's where my surname comes from. It said that the French and Latin didn't make their nationality till American colonization. So therefore, what was they under prior to that? Under Jerusalem, under the name Godfrey. Godfrey goes back to the descendant of what they call the Kingdom of England. King Edward the Peaceful. All right? They also mentions the first Kingdom of Jerusalem lasted from 1099 to 1187 when it was almost entirely overrun by Saladin. These are Ottoman Turks, Moors. All right? It says here, after the new capital, most of the Crusaders who settled there were of French or Norman origin. All right? This who invaded England in 1066 under William the Conqueror. Y'all people need to know y'all history. Let's get out of here before I come to my closing. Let's look up his surname, Roosevelt. All right. Where's this family crest at? Let's go out there. House of names. Here we go. You see that? Let me close that up for you, so y'all can see it. Do you see that? Roosevelt, history, family crest of arms. Origin, Netherlands. You hear that? And England. Do you see that? The family name Roosevelt is thought to be of Norman origin. Normans took over England in 1066. Originally, Roosevelt was name given to a person with red hair, which was in turn derived from the old French nickname red hair. These are your barbarous people, your barbarians, not the Berbers from the Barbary Coast, but barbarians. You got it right there. All right, my closing. Let's go to Berber family crest. You see that? Berber family crest and coats of arms. Origin available. It didn't say New Netherland. It said England. The history of the name Berber begins with the Anglo-Saxon tribes of Britain. It is derived from the baptismal name. Baptism deals with Christianity, am I right? Meaning son of Barbara. It didn't say barbarians, it said Barbara. In some instances, the name may have also been a nickname for someone such as a Moor or a Berber. Now, Moors is a Latin or French word from Maurice or Maurice. Mauritius or Maurice. But they didn't make their history until the colonization. So it must have been Berber, who appeared to be North African heritage. In such case, the name is reference to the Barbary coast of North Africa. All right? Did you see that? Let's go back out here. Let's see if we got another one. Barber. Not that one. Berber family coat of arms. Berbers, let's see. See what they give us. It should have a German origin as well. It won't come up. It shouldn't even come up, but they have one for Germany. Let me see, where is that? Okay, it says Barber. The Chronicle of Scottish history reveals that the first people who used the name Barber were Strathclyde Britons. The Barber name is derived from Anglo-Saxon Norman French word barberer, and turned from the Latin barbaris, or barber meaning beard. As such, the medieval barber who not only cut hair and gave shaves, but also practiced surgery and pulled teeth. Okay? The year 1296 is imposed to note that there was the year of the King Edward I of England invaded Scotland. So this is your history, brothers and sisters, as Berbers. All right? And that as Teutonics, or Europeans. All right? Let's look at this one more thing. One name. Okay. One name study is a project researching specific surnames as opposed to a particular pedigree, ancestors of one or descendancy, descendants of one person or couple. Some people who research specific surnames may restrict their research geographically and chronologically, perhaps to one country and time period, while others may collect all occurrences worldwide for a time. You see that? A one name study is not limited to a person who are related biologically. Studies may have a number of family trees which have no link with each other. You see that? Do you see that? Many people conducting family history genealogically or onomastic research may conduct a one name study of surname and giving a period of local quite informalities. All right, so this is what we should be doing. Linking your name. All right, I got one more thing to look up. One more thing. All right. P D